Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Watch on Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. And it's not going to happen in this video, but that's okay. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Best. Y'all say what's up to her.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy June. Summer solstice is almost here. Hallelujah. And like the video, please subscribe. James does great content. Support him, damn it.
Thank you so much. Yes, and while you subscribing to me, subscribe to Mrs. Best. Any reviews or recaps I don't cover on my channel, like you guys were looking for Basketball Wives, that is on Mrs. Best's channel. We also will be doing Real Housewives of Miami on her channel, and we do The Valley currently on her channel as well. I know a lot of people, at least in my subscriber count, don't watch that show, but I'm getting into it and learn about the characteristics of them all. So it's a good show. You guys should tune in and definitely tune in to me and Mrs. Best roasting all of them because we go in. And while we subscribe to both of us, we also want to send out a shout out. Subscribe to Shana underscore MCD. She has two channels, a current and also a new channel that she is both trying to get monetized here. We're trying to help her because we want Shana to stay on YouTube. She says the determination of her channels getting monetized is if she'll stay on YouTube, and we want her to be on YouTube. So monetize Shana. We sending subscribers your way. I don't know who watched me. I know there's a good 150 of y'all that watched me on this video last week that ain't subscribed to me. So if you ain't gonna subscribe to me, at least subscribe to Shana so that way we can keep her here on YouTube because we need her here. We do. So please subscribe to Shana. So with that being said, y'all are here for Somebody's Son. This is season 1, episode 7. The episode is called Vulnerable Leaf. And too bad that didn't stand for any of the sons' vulnerability. That was all for their mamas. So yeah, well, at least one mama in particular. So speaking of mamas in particular, we are back to Chad and Katina. Did we miss them, Mrs. Best?
Ciao.
No. And now I see Chad differently than I ever saw Chad. I think maybe I did see Chad this way, but I see Chad completely differently. He's now the worst one of the three.
He's not at all. Not at all. I've been peeped that. I've been like Chad. He's the only one of all the men that I could really stand.
See, I'm torn because I don't think I like him anymore after this video, after this episode. I think it's gonna go James, Josh, then Chad for me. Chad actually disappointed me this episode. And I feel like, and I'm gonna dive into it a little bit deeper. So where we left off with Chad and Katina is that Chad had his challenge, which is with the modeling. Hang on one. Sorry, I thought I heard knocking. So we set up with Chad and Katina. They are on their date, and not Chad and Katina. They're on their modeling challenge. Sorry, not date. He got a date though, but not just right now. And this is time for Katina to pick, because as we know, Charlize picked for James, and we know that Oma picked for Josh. So now it's Katina's turn, and it's her turn to pick somebody for Chad to go on a date with. Now remember, she sent the first person home who he had the most chemistry with, or at least that he was the most attracted to. And so now he's nervous about this date, and she picks Paige to go out on the date. And he's not really 100% into Paige as much as he's into Lauren and Jasmine. So he's kind of looking at Katina like, what is you doing? But he goes and takes Paige out. They actually go to a gelato shop. It's like, what? They actually are leaving the compound? Wow, okay. Very good, very good. So they're going to get ice cream. And, she's giving Chad, her background and everything. And he's trying to pay attention. You could tell his mind is not there, which I did not like. I felt like you could at least participated in the day just a little bit more, told a little bit more about yourself. But they talk about love languages. What are their love languages? And we learned that his is physical touch. He likes words of affirmation and, things of that. And hers were, or was hers words of affirmation? That just slipped my mind just now because I'm thinking hers were. Nah, I'm trying to do this without notes. I'm trying to be professional. I'm trying to go off memory. But whatever, they talk about that, and I just feel like they're not compatible at all. And I feel that this date definitely strengthened that. Mrs. Best, how'd you feel about Paige and Chad's date?
They're not compatible, and his mom is the reason it did not go well, in my opinion. She's been pushing Paige on Chad for pretty much every time we've seen them in an episode. I think that the mom has a really good bond with Paige. Probably a better bond with Paige. Chad has with Paige, but I do think her being preferenced by the mom also turns him off of her and makes him put some type of a wall up. Cause I can't, I know the show's called Somebody's Son, but with how bad the dynamic is, because he went to move with his father at crucial times for a man's upbringing specifically. So I feel like he might have some sort of resentment or something deeper going on with his mom. And it's weird that he even agreed to do this show. But I don't think in real life or on television that Chad would pick the woman that his mom wants him to pick.
Well, we know that. We know that he wouldn't because one, they're estranged. So we know that there's a level of trust that he does not have with Katina. Like that's very obvious. But I do agree. I think Katina probably recognizes herself in Paige, and maybe that's why she chose her because
And
they
if
didn't have chemistry.
Chad can
Mhm.
see Katina in Paige, because she is very similar to his mom, then he not gonna want that. Like we do date our parents, but we don't date like the carbon copy of them. It'd be like maybe the way someone behaves, their mannerisms, how they handle stuff. But people don't actually just go and marry, people similar to their parents. But I don't know.
At least not knowingly.
Yeah.
So, I think that's where we kind of look at it from this perspective of people don't knowingly go out and find people who have the characteristics of their parents or anything. I think it just kind of naturally happens because it's something that's familiar to us. I'm guilty of it. I've done it before. I don't know if Mrs. Best has ever done that, but I've picked characteristics of someone who resembles a lot of my mother, and it's very disheartening because when you recognize it, you tend to like turn off things that are kind of like, dang, I was fully attracted to you, but you did this, and I'm reminded of that being my trauma, so never mind. I've had a few of those experiences, so it's kind of
I mean,
crazy.
my husband is similar to my dad in a lot of ways, and I didn't notice it until after I did therapy. Thank God my dad was the parent that caused me no trauma. Hell. Whew.
Right, because just thinking about that, yeah, I could see in terms, and I can see that with Chad. I can see that with with Paige. I don't think he means her any harm. I just think that this being Katina's pick, it's really hard for him to kind of establish that this is something he would do on his own. And that is a
Yep.
conversation that he does leak out with his date with Paige. Is she asks, "Have you ever brought anybody to meet your mom?" And he says, "No, I actually have not really been around my mom much because we have not lived together since I was in seventh grade." And she goes, "Oh, that kind of makes sense because you do see that there is a little bit of distance between them." And to me, I don't feel like he should have revealed that to Paige in a way because I feel like to her advantage over the other two girls, she knows that his decisions, when it comes to his turn for the decision, won't be in Katina's hand. And he's not going to take what Katina says in consideration. But also at the same token, this is not the one he has the most chemistry with. So I don't know if it would even work in her advantage if, she had that in her corner. What do you think, Mrs. Best? Do you think that that would be an advantage pointer for her if she now knows that Katina's
No,
consideration really isn't in place?
not at all, because regardless, chemistry, it's either there or it's not. Even if you don't know people too well and are getting to know them, either you could vibe with somebody or you just not gonna vibe with them. And he don't seem to have the greatest vibe with Paige.
So even with her knowing him revealing the estrangement between him and Katina, you don't think that that would be an advantage point for her?
Not for her, because she's too close to Katina. And honestly,
Mm.
if we remove Katina from the show and it was these women left, I feel like he would send Paige home, not because she's unattractive or anything, but just off the strength that they don't have too much chemistry and they didn't really care to be around each other if there was not, some form of a date that she won involved. So I feel like that other girl, I can't remember her name, the little light skinned girl that be crying in the confessionals over him.
Oh, Jasmine.
Yeah, I feel like she is the one that he definitely has the most chemistry with, that feel, I think the way they feel about each other is somewhat equal, but it's hard to tell how he would feel about anyone like on a genuine level, just because he has such disdain for his own mama.
Not only that, but he's emotionally closed off, and then also he's very rough around the exterior. I don't know what his dad did to him, but I just know that he's not very like to me. and this is going to sound extreme. Y'all, please do not take this in any stride. I'm not saying he's this person. I'm just saying the characteristics that I'm seeing are very similar to like a Jeffrey Dahmer. He's very, like, when I say that, his emotional span when it comes to his mother and then the other ladies, like there's something he said that made me feel like, I need to see watch you with both eyes, and now I'm concerned about the women you keep in your company. So we're gonna go ahead and end the date, and it's the next morning, and he's cooking breakfast. Everyone's, they have to cook their own food. They don't have chefs here at this show. And Paige comes in last, and he kind of ignores her a little bit, and she's trying to. I don't know if she's trying to get his attention or maybe wants to be acknowledged with his attention. I don't know what it was, but he just kind of ignored her, and it was kind of like, yeah, because you don't have the advantage point that you do, even though you got the first date. It wasn't his choice; it was his mama's choice. So you need to kind of think that. I would have thought that immediately. Like I'm like, okay, I wasn't his choice; I was his mama's choice. So now, where does that make me stand with him? And that's the question I would have been asking. But they sit around the table, and they're having conversations, and the conversations get deep, because they're asking, what do you want out of this experience, what kind of person that you want. And when everyone's explaining, Chad wants Katina to answer the question, and Katina says, based on the mistakes that I have made with my own life, my own children, I want someone who's transparent. And all of the women said, we want that for you, and Chad says, me too, I want that for you as well. And when she saw him say that, she just completely broke. Like she completely broke down. So that's how there's something more here to the surface that's happened in his childhood. Because she got the acknowledgement that she thought she never would from her son. And I thought that was nice of him, but it was almost cold too, because his reaction wasn't like, go comfort my mother because she's crying out of happiness, go hug my mother because I just gave her something that she probably was looking for a long time. His response was just to nod his head and go, yeah, I want that for you, mom. And I was like, well, damn. I mean, I get there's an estrangement, y'all, I get that, but you didn't think to get up and hug your mama or just say I love you or something like that?
I think we need to look at what his daddy was saying to him. What did he hear as a child to make him feel a type of way? I also think other things that are vital that we need to know. How did it go? The discussion with him learning that he would go from living with his mom his entire life to suddenly having to live with his father. Like that was a big deal, especially the age it happened. He was at an age where he had friends established and things like that. So I don't, there's something there. He doesn't seem comfortable on TV. I feel like his mama want to be on TV, but I also feel like we need to look at Katina kind of also because, girl, there's no reason. There's lots of women that will send their sons to live with their fathers in their teen years. I hear of it happening. I have family members that's done it. And while the mother may not be at the house, they're still very much involved, even if they're states away. Like some distance in today's time, if your kid was born after 1999, then you have multiple ways of contacting them if you have to send them off. So I'm kind of looking at her like, okay, he was a child. He may be holding on to something now, but I think especially in the Black community, like, what did she do or not do to make him so cold and closed off? Like that to me is what I can't help but think about.
I want to know too. And it's kind of crazy because I agree with you. I don't think that they will ever give us that sentiment. Like, I don't think it will ever happen on this show. I think that that's just something we just need to notice that it's there and hope that he makes the best decision for his future with one of the ladies that he has.
They need a yawn because he's not ready to date. His mama ain't ready to date. And they need to be in family therapy, not on a show trying to help find love.
So you don't think he's really ready for this experience in
No.
finding love?
No.
Okay, I felt that way too.
Because
But
a real man, like regardless of how his mama feel, we see it with Josh and we see it with what is his name? James. Like, and they both have more so James, moms with like really strong personalities. But James will tell his mom, like, no, this is what I want. No, I want to give this a shot. And she will actually consider what he has to say to a certain extent. So these two don't need to be on this freaking show. They need to be in therapy. He's not in a place to date. Chad, like, you obviously feel a way towards your mom, but he doesn't stand up to her really at all. And when he starts to, he doesn't follow through. And it's like his mom should be able to pick up on the fact that he's not happy with the choices he made and actually give a fuck to acknowledge her son say so. Like, he has to lay down with this person, he has to date this person, he has to deal with this person, so his opinion should matter. So that's why I say I think Katina's definitely the reason he is this way, but he's not ready to date. He got too much mom trauma. He gonna transfer and project that over to a woman that he dates because it's messy.
Hmm. I agree, and it's crazy that we kind of see this, and but they're on the show together. So what can we do? All we can do is hope this goes well. But the conversation also shifts to how are you with forgiveness and forgiving yourself and everything. Like, what are the tools? So they asked Chad this directly, and Chad said, it's really difficult for me to forgive. Not gonna lie, and he goes, sometimes I'm in a space where I want to get my lick back. And when he said that, the other ladies were like, "Oh, whoa, wait a minute." All three of them, red flags across the board. They said that was a red flag for them. And that is, because let me explain something to you guys. That is exactly how he feels. What he just said. That is exactly how he feels. When someone does something to him that he feels is deemed wrong, he's going to go out for revenge. That's exactly his personality. And that's something all of you ladies need to pay attention to. And because he outed himself, he's looking around and all the girls are looking at him like, we need to talk about this. So Jasmine was the first person to confront him about this. They go outside private from the rest of the group. And she goes, "What is that about? Like, why would you like, are you really that kind of person that feels like he needs to get his look back?" So Chad says in this moment, no, I'm not meaning towards like a relationship. I'm not meaning towards like my person. Like, if it was a woman and she did something to me, I'll just accept it and I'll just let it be. I'm not going to do that to a woman. I'm saying when people doubt me, when people say I cannot do something, it's my mission to make sure I prove them wrong, or it's my mission to make sure that, I go above and beyond my accomplishments. Now, Mrs. Best, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Do you really think that that's what Chad meant by that statement?
I think he like his mama. That is my statement. I'm not surprised. And the women up in here getting so close, I think his mom has made the biggest effort to get to know the women of the other moms. And I'm sure they've seen that in her too.
So
he
you
should
don't think
not be. I just said he shouldn't be dating. You know how the hell I feel. This just further proves my point.
that was a very dangerous statement to make, y'all? Not only
Like,
was it
if
dangerous,
you feel the need to go to vengeance or to get your lick back on people, really, for any circumstance, once you get to a certain age and have something to lose, if you think that way, that is dangerous. That's dangerous financially, that's dangerous personally, it's dangerous in all sorts of ways. I mean, yeah, there are times where it's like, okay, people will do that, but if that's like so important to you that you feel the need to verbalize it, mm-mm. But again, he don't need to be dating.
he don't need to be dating. He don't need to be. I don't think this show was a good idea for him, just because this made him look even more crazier than I thought he was. So we gonna put a pin on Chad and Katina and these three ladies because directly I want to get to Josh and Oma. So we're at Josh and Oma, and we see a segment of Chambrielle pulling him to the side because keep in mind, she's the only one that really has not got much one on one time with Josh. He went out on a date with Lexi, he went out on a date with Tamaris, but Chambrielle's kind of left in the dark. So they pull each other to the side, and he gets to know Chambrielle. What we learned about Chambrielle is that, she didn't have her father in her life. Her father was incarcerated. Her mother got pregnant at 18, and that her father really didn't show up for her until she graduated college, which is very sad. I felt for her. But I say this to say that her response to Josh was interesting because she said that she doesn't know much about him. She doesn't know anything. And she said she can't read him. she can't really do anything, as far as really leveling up. So she wants to know who he is. And he gives her some very surface answer while trying to connect with her with, hearing her family tragedy, that I just feel like either she's not as smart as I thought she was, or he realistically is a narcissist. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. You can't give her baseline information about you. Where'd you go to school? What did you major in? What do you like on a Saturday evening? Like, you can't give her any basics, but you gonna fundamentally just give her just some surface answer. It was like, yeah, ladies, pay attention to this. Because when you tell a man, I can't read you, I can't fundamentally get a grasp of who you are, and he says, well, what do you want to know? It's like, pick up the pieces. Like, hey, this is who I am. My name is James Jackson. I am a published author. I have 2 books in stores now. My favorite color is silver, platinum particularly. I love long walks. I am a water person. I love being by the beach. I'm a native of California. I love great weather. I love great seafood. That's just me. Josh could easily do that. You see how I easily just did that? We don't get none of that. And the
I
reason being
still
that,
want to see his I want to see his last tax return so that I could really get an idea of what he has as a whole in his financial profile. I need to see W2s, W4s, I9s, 1094s, 1098Ts, Is. I need to see it all. I want to know who his health insurance is, if he got it. I need to know more because, like you just said, if somebody's like, oh, I want to know more about you, you're either going to answer like James just did, or you're going to, explain why it may be harder for them to get to know you. One of the two would work. But to be like, well, what do you want to know? Is kind of like, one, condescending, in my opinion. Two, he was trying to gaslight her into not asking him nothing else. And how dare you have these women on national television exposing personal parts of their life, such as finances, stripping down their makeup and showing their naked faces and all this crazy stuff. And we still don't know what the hell you do for a living. All I know is that he is an unemployed NFL player that wasn't good enough for any team to keep. That's all that we know. With an auntie with a suspicious wig and skin that becomes lighter by the episode. So I can't with him.
I'm just saying, it's like, wow, y'all really go play in our face. So it's the next day for them, and he goes and see Oma, and he said to Oma, he said, I had a nice night with Chambrielle. She opened up to me, and and I wasn't really all that attracted to her. I was attracted more so to Maris and Lexi. But now that she talked to me about her life and everything, I just want to know more. And I said, oh, okay. Now he has a right to not be as physically attracted to Chambrielle as he does Lexi and Tamara. See, he has the absolute right. I am not saying he is wrong for this, but it was just the way he said it. And it was the way, because we all know how Oma feel. Oma wants Lexi, even though Lexi got 2 kids and all this stuff. That's the one she wants. And it's all based upon, like, I feel like her complexion. I do. I said this in episode 1. I feel like, because it was the moment that we saw Lexi come out that car, she goes, oh, she's beautiful. She's vibrant. And Lexi, to me, looks racially ambiguous. Like, almost, I'm
And
saying one of her
simple.
parents is white.
There's a lot of girls that look, not saying she's not pretty, no shade, but there's a lot of girls, especially in the African American community, that look just like Lexi. Come to California if y'all don't believe me. Any part. So I'm not saying the girl ain't, attractive, but she's also nothing special or unique. So it's weird that they have these preferences. Chambrielle, the only thing I could see on her that they would not like, honestly, I agree with your opinion, would be her skin tone. However, Oma ain't even the actual mama. Where is this man's mama? On top of the W2s being missing, his actual mama is missing.
And he didn't say she wasn't alive. So
She ain't sent a video reference. We ain't seen him on the phone trying to tap her into the process. Where is her? Oma, where's your sister?
right.
Go find her.
Because yeah, this is cheapening and fraudulently placing the experience on y'all part. It just really is. The fact that this man won't simply just say, I'm an NFL free agent, as if that really is some big ass flex. Because let me be clear with y'all. That is not a flex. If he was currently playing, that would be a flex.
But he's not. He's watching the Super Bowl like the rest of us at home on the
And then
couch.
he played for a team that isn't really on the roster like that. So, yeah. Proud 511 Walker, welcome to my channel. I don't think I've ever seen you comment. Thank you for being here. It seems like all the men have issues with their mothers. Exactly. All different issues, of course, but they all have issues with their mother. Josh's issue, we don't know because his mother is not even here for us to be able to assess. James's issue with Charlize is that Charlize wants some old biblical Amish woman for him, and that's not what he wants. And Katina's here with Chad, I think, to be on TV because to me, Chad doesn't even like the pics that she gives. So it's like, well, what's the issue here? Because we still don't know. He's being passive aggressive with Katina, and it's obvious and it's really sad. So we need to know what happened in that childhood, like Mrs. Best said, because his passive aggressive behavior towards his mother is weird. It's very strange, and it's almost like he's waiting for her to slip up on television.
I feel like that's the only reason he agreed. That is my professional and personal opinion. He said himself that he liked to get his lick back if somebody play with him. Yeah. And I believe that people who are that way, it all starts at home. Your environment is everything. He had to learn that from somewhere. That is a learned behavior. And I have a feeling that he probably learned that from his parents. And that could be why he got his mama on this show. Because why would you even want to come on a television show with your child if you know you and your child are not good like that? That's
Maybe
awkward.
She don't know. Maybe she doesn't know. Like, let's be fair. Let's be fair here. Maybe she doesn't know Chad has this inside of her. And maybe she looks at the passive aggressiveness as like, okay, well, that's just him doing that because he's angry at me or something. Maybe she writes it off. Because to me, I would have noticed the passive aggressiveness when those cameras first cut on. When I sent the first young lady home, I would have noticed the passive aggressiveness because that's when he started doing it. So to me, I feel like I'm not somebody that realistically wants to play into those figures like that, but it's just very obvious. Let's see what this comment says. The Nigerian girl should have never went home. Lexi should have. The 2 kids is a lot to deal with for a jet-setting semi-football player.
I said that in the first episode. I felt like he should have kept that girl off the simple strength of the culture. It wasn't his decision, but I also feel like Oma sent her home because she didn't want to look like they were going to be, the Nigerian keeping the Nigerians. It gave that energy, but I think it's good she went home. She was much younger. She was a nurse. I feel like she would have ended up supporting this man because I believe he is gainfully unemployed. I truly believe that, and I'm not letting go of it. I don't think he's working. I don't think he's poor or anything. I think he probably has something saved up, but I don't think this man is working, and I don't think he knows his next move, because if he did, he wouldn't be doing something random like modeling, because he's not that cute to be modeling. That's just my opinion.
Well, it's not even that. I know that when it comes to the associations, football is one of the lowest on the totem pole compared to baseball and basketball. It's the lowest on the totem pole. So I don't know what he really has, because I don't know if he has endorsements other than the modeling. Really, I don't really count that as an endorsement. It seems like he's kind of doing more so, what is that called? Ambassading?
Oh, yeah, brand ambassador.
Brand ambassador, yeah. I think that's what he's doing versus it being endorsements. That's not the same thing. And someone argued with me about that. Brand ambassading and endorsements are 2 different things.
And endorsement, you're like, they're really paid until you fully plugged in. Brand ambassador, that's simple stuff. I've done that for Indoor Parade and several other companies, where all you do is just wear something and include a little link in the description. It's something so so cheap, so small. Like an
Mhm.
endorsement like means something. You gonna need contracts on contracts on contracts. It's more official. Okay.
Basically, no endorsement. You're paid up front, and everything else is covered. So when you do a commercial, they're paying for it. When you're doing something on your Instagram, they're paying you every time you're doing it. Versus, and you don't really have to sell anything. That's
It's
the
better.
difference between.
It's
It's better,
better.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
better. I don't think he has endorsements. I think he brand ambassador. He's a brand ambassador. I do.
Yeah.
How they laughing at you with your gainfully unemployed? Did he?
It is.
He is. Like I'm just saying. Like
He said
that's
he
not.
is a free agent in the NFL who is not being utilized and
When did
has
he
not
play?
been utilized.
When
And
did
when
he
he
play? I'm
last,
trying.
he
We don't even
played
know when
for
he
like
played.
a season
When?
years and years ago, and he wasn't good enough for the team to feel like he needs to come back. So I'm not trying to be mean. I just don't like how he's here with his auntie, and then he keep asking these women to dig deep and expose parts of themselves that women we don't always feel comfortable doing, especially with no nigga we just met. And he can't tell nobody like what he does. Like he's holding the secret, I think, because all of these women are extremely successful.
Yeah,
Jambrielle, what is she? A mortgage broker. Lexi is in. She does. I can't remember what
I
she
believe she
does.
was a
But
financial analyst. I believe that's what she did.
they all have great jobs that pay
Yes.
well into the six figures in every state. And he basically has a job that says maybe sometimes he'll be employed, but realistically, with you being an NFL free agent, the older he gets, the less they're gonna
Unless
want
they're
him,
gonna
and the
sign
less
him
likely he
exactly.
is to be brought on.
The only person I know for sure got lucky with that is Simone Biles' husband. Because he's in his 30s. So that's why I'm like, that's the only person that I know of like that really got lucky. And I feel she had a lot to do with that. Not, and y'all know I love me some Simone Biles. Like that is my girl. I love her to death. I am not speaking bad on her. Simone, don't be coming for me because I know you watch YouTube. Don't be coming for me. But what I'm saying is that the older you get, it is less likely you're going to get signed unless you pull a move that he pulled, which is marry another athlete, and that athlete has a huge ass name where that's going to bring in quarters for you because then people are going to pay attention to you now. So that's what I'm saying. But Simone, I love you, girl. Call me now. Okay. So, anyways, we did. I'm gonna go ahead and keep on Josh, and then we'll go back to Chad and Katina in a minute. She is.
She really is.
Absolutely, she
She
is.
really
She is
is.
the most. I'm telling you, when I tell y'all that is my best friend outside of Mrs. Best here. That is my best friend in my head. I promise you, I love me some Simone Biles. I do. But moving along, y'all. So we did get another segment of Josh and Chambrielle. They're at the pool. He decided he wanted to give Chambrielle a little date. So they're at the pool and they're talking, and he asks about her roster, meaning, her dating life, like how many has it been? And I was like, that ain't really none of your business. Like, and I wouldn't have said nothing until I knew I was the one chosen. But anyways, she goes ahead and says that she's only been in, I think she said 3 serious relationships, the longest one being 5. And she said the problem with that relationship is that her um, ex's mother was heavily involved in the relationship. And she said when she came here, she was nervous meeting Oma because she felt like that was a PTSD moment for her. And he opens up about a relationship he was in. When he was 22, he was with someone that was 28 that was constantly trying to, change him or make him angry or some shit he was saying that didn't make no sense at the end of the day. And he says that's why he's so closed off because, he just wants to be positive and wants, things to always just flow and be fun. And he hates when someone tries to take him out of that element. Whatever. That's bullshit. And you know it. I don't believe that. And I'm sorry, y'all. I can't tell him about his story. That's for him to say it. But how he moves, he does not give me the type that will sit there and let another woman change his whole perspective of life. If he's so big and bad, was playing football and everything, he does not give me that. He gives me player. He gives me the type that he hurts girls' feelings when he doesn't call them to say goodnight. He gives me the type that, he'll look at another girl's booty in front of a girl and think he can ask another girl, what you think about her? He gives me that kind of person. if I'm building on the characteristic of this show. He does not give me that he would fall into the manipulation of an older woman changing his whole persona to then making him angry and he had to back away from him. That does not even sound like him based on what I'm seeing in these episodes. Could it have happened? Sure, anything is possible. But I'm just saying who we're meeting, that does not align with that kind of situation. Mrs. Best, what do you think?
I agree.
Right. Because I was so that off put me, y'all, because I was like, wait, hold up. So you mean to tell me that when you was 22, someone who was 28, who don't even know their damn selves, was able to pull you out of your element to make you some old angry ass bird to where you felt like you never wanted to be put in that situation again. So that's why you don't have no serious relationships and constantly out there in the world just, running amok in the palace, as Mama D would say, and just be with all kinds of different women. So that's what that woman really did do. Okay. Okay. I don't think it's possible, but okay. Now, do I think women can change men like the wrong person? Absolutely. I'm not saying that that's not possible at all, because that's very true. Like anybody could change your perspective. But what they don't do is when they change your perspective, they change your characteristics. I believe your characteristics are always there. And I believe you're going to do what you've always done. And you give me the type that has always been out in the world playing. Literally. You're playing. And I feel like this is what you're doing here too. But I'll reserve my opinion to the end. We'll see what happens. I could be wrong, and I don't really care one way or the other because this show's not. I don't feel like this show's going to get picked up for a season 2. I just don't. But if it does, I don't really care. So, Mrs. There's anything you want to add to that date with Chambriel?
I want her to go home.
I do too.
Because I actually like her. And I think she deserves a stand up dude. She's chill, she's open, she's young, she's successful, and she's focused. She's driven. She has something to lose and something to prove. I think those are people who will end up succeeding. So I don't want her on the show. I'd rather. Oh, can you link Sambrielle up with that family in Houston?
Which one?
The Family Empire people. She says she a mortgage broker.
Oh, that would be nice to see her on there.
Pick
Absolutely.
her up. Own is partnered with HGTV now.
How would she fit into that, though, is the question.
I don't know. They could figure it out, but I'd rather see Chambrielle doing something like in her career. I feel like she's too good for this dude. I feel like she's too good for this show, personally. But
yeah, I agree. So yeah, but now we then go back to Katina and Chad. They're deliberating because Chad now has to make his pick on a date that he would like to pick, and he actually picked Lauren, who is the hairstylist. Let me read comment real quick. Josh is 100%, playing 100%. Sounds like he's been caught before. He's elusive and secretive. What is he hiding for real? And that's what I'm saying. Nothing that he's saying makes any type of sense logically. It doesn't make sense. And I feel like, once again, I don't feel like he's straight. I don't. I think that's my honest opinion. I'm not trying to out him. I know it's horrible to do. I'm not trying to out him. I just don't see it. I don't see him into women. I just don't. And I feel like because he's Nigerian, and I know how much that is frowned upon in, the African culture, especially that one in particular, I feel like he really can't be who he is. And I feel like this was a way to, kind of show, and this is what Mrs. Best saying. His aunt probably knows my mom, maybe. And I think that's why she's not here.
That's probably why she's not there.
I think so too. I think that's why she's not here at all. So yeah, let's move on. We're gonna go. So he picks Lauren to go on the date. They go on the date. They get massages, and once they're done with their massages, she opens up. She goes, just like with Chambrielle with Josh, Lauren also cannot read Chad. And when he made the comment about getting his lip back, that also rubbed her the wrong way. So he now has to explain, that comment away once again. And he makes this point to say, after he explains, because I'm not going to go over this answer, because that answer was just as stupid as the answer he gave to Jasmine. It was just stupid. She was over it. Lauren was over it because but what Lauren is doing, Lauren is playing the game. And I'm gonna get to that in just a second here. Um, so he tells Lauren that we have about a 5 year age difference between you and I. I want to make sure that I'm not wasting your time. And if you have something, that you have goals, I want to make sure I help you with that. And Lauren said, no, we can just go with the flow because that's putting unnecessary pressure on you that you don't need to have. Like, let me be okay with that. Let that be my issue. And when Lauren said that, I said, ladies, that is a real one. That is one that is self aware. That is one that is seasoned because that is the answer you give to a man when they start playing with you about, your age and stuff. Turn the tables back on him and say, no, that's putting unnecessary pressure on you that you don't need to have. I'm good. Because Lauren is going to be good. Lauren reminds me of someone who's self-assured. And I think Lauren did this, hoping that it will work out. But if it doesn't, she's gonna have a good time playing with this because she played him. And it was funny to watch. And it was even funny to watch her in the end. I'm gonna get to it in just a second. But they began talking, about future wise, where they would like to be and everything. And I like Lauren. Lauren is my favorite so far on the chat side. I think that she has a great head on her shoulders. I think that she is very self-aware, and I love that about her. I do. I think that she doesn't allow Chad to manipulate her mind or be passive aggressive like he is with his mom. So that was pretty much their date. How'd you feel about their date?
It was cool. I mean, her maturity showed. She handled them well. But I don't see these two working out. I don't sense no chemistry between the two of them either.
I don't either. And
I
even
feel
when
like
they got,
Chad is also one of those dudes who's like low key chauvinistic, and I feel like she clocks it when she
Mhm.
was saying, I'm not just gonna be a woman that's just gonna be at home." She said that earlier in the episode because it does kind of seem like when he explains what he wants in a woman, like he just wants somebody to support him, but it don't seem like he want to offer much to her.
Right, right, right. And yep, I agree with this comment. She is his second favorite because you could tell he all into Jasmine,
Yeah,
and he can't. Yeah, Jasmine is a 26-year-old, so he can definitely. And she fell for that bait. Lord, she fell for it.
she
So
did.
I'm gonna get to that point in a minute. The day continues on. Lauren pulls him to the side and said, "We had a great time and everything, and I just want you to know that I'm trying to give this my all." And she pretty much says that. But then the kicker was they then go into the kitchen, and Jasmine happens to come downstairs, and they're talking, and she goes, how do you feel about? I think she asked him a question about sex and like, what do you think about that? And he caught him off guard. And as Jasmine sitting up there being nosy, washing dishes and stuff, which I wouldn't have done, I would have waited till they got their asses out the kitchen and came back later because I'm not going to interrupt that, like, and listen to all of that. That's stupid. But and she told him, "You're a man of a certain age. I mean, there's pretty much Jasmine's and Paige's, out there. So I'm pretty sure that you won't have your hands full and everything." And he don't know what to say. Like when I tell you, Chad was just stuck because you could tell he saw Jasmine in the corner washing dishes, and you could tell he's not knowing what to respond. And she's just giving the game. She's just juking him, and I was enjoying every part of it. Like she was giving him the game. Like she goes, "You have to, I get there's other women in the room, and I get that there's other situations you're gonna be in, but I'm just here, just give my time, and when you come to me, it's gonna be good, and when you go to them, it's gonna be all right." Pretty much letting him know, I got you. You may not choose me, but no, I'm gonna be okay. Because I know that neither one of these two can bring what I can bring. You got one who's insecure, and obviously she's showing that because she over there washing dishes instead of taking her ass upstairs. And then you have the other one who you ain't really into like that, but your mama love her. So you trying to appease your mama. Lauren knows the game. Lauren knows. Chad said he had to step his game up from Lauren. Looks like he felt that. You know what it is? It's not that he has to step his game up. He knows that she can't be manipulated, as you said here. So the reason why he has to step his game up is because he knows his tactics are not going to work with her. He knows being passive aggressive is not going to work with Lauren because she's
He
just going
not
to
gonna
want.
choose her. He not gonna choose her because I think I started to get the vibe after she clocked him. It kind of like let him know, like, I see you and I'll be good. Like it kind of gave me the energy where I looked at him a little differently. I feel like he likes to date either younger girls or girls that are easily influenced, easily manipulated. I feel like it's because he probably wants to have some control of females because he probably got some type of weird abandonment issue with his mama and having to go live elsewhere. But he he's weird. I don't see him choosing her. I felt like what you said was definitely appropriate, but then I also saw it as okay, this was these two letting each other know, like, okay, we got to finish this show, but it seemed like he ain't gonna choose her and she's okay with not being chosen because she already was making hella comments throughout the episode about him. But yeah, he definitely needs like somebody younger.
No, I think he needs a Lauren. I just don't think he's ready for a Lauren.
That's what he needs. But this is somebody who's vengeful and looks like they use control as a way to address and process their own trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
unless he goes and seeks therapy and is actually honest in therapy, because you get what you put into it, I don't see him changing. But the only trouble is I do think he will like younger women because of that control. But women always grow, just like men grow. People grow and they evolve and they mature. So I feel like that could be why he's single or has had failed relationships. Because the woman probably becomes woke at some point and starts having her own mind. And I feel like that's where stuff will end. So I'm hoping he figures it out, but I just don't want to watch him. And that other little girl that was crying over him, not Lauren, the other one, I cannot remember
Jasmine.
her name, Jasmine, the other little one that's constantly crying over him and stuff. I'm looking at her and I'm just like, I worry for her a little bit with somebody like him.
I worry about her as well because as much as he is giving Jeffrey Dahmer, she is giving single white female. And I'm just like, girl, it's not that serious. It's not. It's like you gonna be all right. You got a whole much more life to live. You gonna be all right. But as I said, Lauren is playing the game. I feel like Lauren is being strategic now. And I could be wrong. She probably is just, having just some fun conversation with him in the kitchen. That could be it. But it just seemed like she's playing the game. And I'm here for it. I'm here for whatever Lauren gives. Because Lauren, let me tell you, can
She
change
works
the
for
world.
people. She's a hairstylist. She knows what's going on.
Hmm.
She knows exactly what's going on.
Absolutely. But that was pretty much the episode, y'all. It was an okay episode. I still don't like the premise of this show. I'm going to still recap because I think we only have 2 or 3 episodes left. So I can't wait for the show to be over because I want to see who they all pick, or I want to see if the girls are going to call these men's bluffs because all of them are problematic, all of them. So we'll see what happens. Anything else you want to add, Mrs. Best?
Like the video.
Yes, like the video, subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed to me. I happy all that. Prod 511 Walker, it was nice meeting you. Nice, thank you for coming on my channel. We hope to see you again here in a couple of days. I do Real Housewives of Atlanta. I have lots of other shows coming up, so we hope to see you again. Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. So overall, we're gonna go to Mrs. Best's channel. Make sure you subscribe to her channel because we have never ever met, which was a crazy episode, and I can't wait to get into it. So you guys go ahead and go to Mrs. Best's channel, subscribe to her as well, and we'll see you there. Have a good night, y'all. Bye bye.